Hello everyone. Today we're going to learn how to create this cool animation in After Effects. First we create a composition, then right click and create a black solid. Apply a radio wave on this solid layer. We can see how it creates waves. Decrease the lifespan to create a fade out effects. Set the frequency 1.30. Now change the color. Apply a turbulence displace on this solid. Now increase the amount near 900 to create effects. Increase the complexity. We can see how it looks. Now right click and create another solid layer. Apply a gradient ramp in it. Set the ramp to a radial ramp. Set the RAM start point center and end point a little bit down. Change the start color blue and the end color dark blue. Adjust the end point to create a nice background. Now put the first solid top of it. Add a Gaussian blur effect on it and set it around 7. Apply a deep glow effect and set the exposure 0.1 in radius to 150. Adjust the Gaussian blur effect to create more blurriness. And maybe a little bit of dark color looks great. Now select the rectangle tool and create a rectangle shape. Center its anchor point and position. Apply a 4-color gradient effect on it and change all color to gray and light gray. Now go to the shape layer, select the rectangle path and set the roundness around 40 to create a nice rounding shape. Now rename all the layers. Duplicate the box layer and remove 4-color gradients effect. Apply a fill effect and set the color black. Apply CC light sweep effect on it. Increase the width to 103 and set sweep intensity to 0. Now adjust the width, edge intensity, and thickness to create awesome effects. Now change the sweep color. Apply a deep glow effect. Decrease its radius and exposure. Adjust the sweep setting a little bit. Now set the sweep direction to the top corner and add a keyframe. Move the timeline forward and set the direction to 3 times. We can see it creates a nice animation. It may be a little fast. Select box 2 layer and press U and go to the last keyframe and set the direction 2 to make the animation slow. Now change the blending mode add. Create an adjustment layer and apply a grid effect on it. Adjust the corner and decrease the opacity. Set the blending mood to add. Now select the adjustment layer and create a mask. Increase mask expansion and feather to make a fade out effect. Decrease the opacity and set it to 5. Now parent the adjustment layer to box 2. Also parent box 2 to the main box layer. Select box layer and add a keyframe in position. Move the keyframe forward and move the Y position down. Select these keyframes and press F9 to make it smooth. Then go to the graph editor and make it more smooth. We can see it create an awesome animation. Make all the layers 3D except the background layer. Select the camera tool and move it back. Now duplicate the box layer and delete the position animation. Scale it and set fill opacity 0. Then set the stroke width to 3. Also delete the 4-color gradient effects. Now decrease the scale and rename it stroke. Apply a gradient ramp, set the start color blue and end color black. Apply deep glow. Decrease its exposure and radius. Duplicate the stroke layer and increase the scale. Rename the adjustment layer to grid. Select stroke layer and add a keyframe in opacity. In the first frame, make it 0. Move to the next frame and make it 100. Keep adding the same effect to 10 frames. Now select all the keyframe. Copy it, move one frame forward and paste it. We can see it create a flicker effect. Now copy the opacity. Go to stroke 2 and with select opacity, paste it. Now it creates a flicker in it. We can see how it looks. Select stroke 2 layer, go to the gradient ramp, and swap the color to make a differentiation. Now select the box layer, right click, go to layer style, and select inner glow. Now go to the inner glow setting, increase the size, increase its range a little bit, change color yellow to gray, decrease the opacity, now go to Flaticon and download some PNG. It's free. I downloaded 3 icons. Import these 3 icons in After Effects and make them 3D. Hide these 2 icons and only work with one. Apply 4 color gradient effects in it and change the color. Apply deep glow effects and decrease its exposure and radius. Also apply a drop shadow effect. Now copy all of these 3 effects, unhide those 2 layers and paste it. Again, hide those 2 and apply CC light sweep effect in the money icon. Select the center point and set it to the center of this icon. Increase sweep width and decrease width to 0. Increase width a little bit, increase intensity. Now copy the light sweep effect and paste those 2 also. Now select all 3 icons and set scale to 30. Also move them forward. Now select them all and make a keyframe in opacity. Move keyframe forward and make another keyframe and set it to 0. Now select one by one and arrange them. Now select the first one and make a keyframe in position. Move backward and move it a little bit down. Select these keyframes and press F9 to smooth it. Go to the graph editor and make it more smooth. Now select the second one and create position animation same as previous one. Also select the third one and create position animation like the previous one. Now rearrange them one after one. It creates an awesome animation. Now select the text tool and write some text. Decrease the scale, uncheck stroke and check fill. Now make it as a 3D, select the move tool and position it on top of this icon. Increase the scale a little bit. Position the layer as same as this PNG layer. Duplicate it and change its position. Now with selection press enter to rename it. Duplicate again and reposition it. Also rename it. Again, arrange them one after one. Now select the time text and add a keyframe in opacity. Move some frames forward and move the keyframe. Now back to the start point of the layer and set opacity to 0. Select these keyframes and press F9 to smooth the animation. Add the same animation for others' text also. Now reposition them to match the animation with those PNG. Select hourglass and time text, pre-compose them and rename it to time pre-comp. Do the same things for others' text and icons. Now select the pen tool and draw a curve. Disable fill and set stroke width to 6. With the pen tool selected, adjust the curve. Now it looks good. Make it 3D and move the layer bottom of these pre-compose. When we made the curve 3D, it changed its scale. Now increase it little bit. Rename it to a graph. Apply gradient ramp in it. Set the start point of the ramp to the top of the graph and end point to bottom of the graph. Now change the color. Apply deep glow, decrease its radius and exposure. Now go to the graph and add a trim path. Go to the trim path, set endpoint to 0, and add a keyframe. Move some frames forward and set the end to 100. Select those keyframes and press F9. Go to the graph editor and adjust the speed to make it smooth. Move the last keyframe forward to make it a little bit slow. Now create an adjustment layer top of the time pre-comp layer. Trim it the position when the graph touches the pre-comp. Apply the shatter effect on it. Change the shatter pattern to glass. Go to Force 1 and adjust the shatter position. Go to Force 2 and set position bottom of the Force 1. Now select the adjustment layer and time pre-comp layer and pre-compose them. Rename it to time shatter. Now double-click this pre-compose and go to the adjustment layer. Change shatter view to rendered. Set shatter repetitions to 50. Set force 1 and force 2 radius to 0.10. Adjust the position back to the main comp and see how it looks. Again, go to Time Shatter Comp and adjust the position of the adjustment layer to match the animation. Back to the main comp and see how it looks. Again, make these pre-comp to 3D when you make them 3D. Suddenly scale changes. Don't be afraid. Select them and increase their scale. Now go to the shatter comp and copy the adjustment layer back to the main comp. Now double-click muscle pre-compose and paste the adjustment layer. Set position the cursor when the graph touches the icon. Go to muscle pre-compose and adjust the shatter effects layer. Go to Force 1 and position it to top of the text. Set Force 2 position to bottom of this PNG. Now see the result. Now do the same thing for the money comp. Now go to the muscle pre-comp and set the origin center of this PNG. If we go to money comp and zoom it, we can see a weird glow in the outline of this icon. We have to solve it. Select the money PNG and disable the deep glow effect. Now right click and create an adjustment layer. Apply deep glow in it. Decrease the radius and exposure. We can see we solved that issue. We can see the same problem in the muscle icon also. Double click the muscle pre-comp, select the muscle icon, and delete the deep glow effects. Now create an adjustment layer and apply a deep glow effect. Decrease its radius and exposure. Also apply a drop shadow effect in it. See, we solve it. Same problem in the time icon also. Do the same thing as before. Select the stroke 2 layer and delete the opacity animation. Instead of flicker effect, create a trim path animation on it. Adjust the speed to make it smooth. We can see our animation ends in 11 seconds. Press N, right click and set trim comp to the work area to delete the unwanted parts. Now right click and add a camera. See, when we create a camera, it zooms in our composition. So change the Z position to adjust our composition. Now trim the camera layer into 3 parts to make a different scene. In camera 2 layer, add a position keyframe. Move to the last position of the layer and change Z position to create a zoom in animation. Select these keyframes and press F9. Go to the graph editor and adjust the graph to make it fast zoom in the start and end slow. Now go to the camera 3 layer and add a keyframe in position. Adjust the XYZ position to make a zoom effect in time icon. Now move some frames forward and focus on the money icon. Adjust the keyframe to make it smooth. Also add a little animation and rotation. Now select all these keyframes and press F9. Go to the graph editor and make it start fast and end slow. Here is our final animation. After adding some sound design, here's our final result.